Hey everybody, my name is Ashanna and I am an actress and curve model from Southern California. I'm 5'9" without heels, but typically with heels, I'm ranging about 6 foot, 6'1" on a good day. I started off doing commercials and acting and got into modeling on the back end. But I've modeled in California, New York, overseas, so it's been a fun journey. I am currently signed to multiple agencies right now. In LA, New York, I'm signed to MSA Models, and I'm also signed to San Diego Model Management. So some of the works these agencies have done are commercials with Target, commercials with Ross, e-commerce, Forever 21, Charlotte Russe, GS Love, ASOS Curves. There's so many different companies. Because there's so many different boards. There's like a straight size board, there's like a main board that has the women that are, well, that's a straight size board. So there are multiple boards. There's a straight size board, curve board, fit board, men's board. So their work transcends depending on what the client is asking for, but I'm part of the curve board and I've been blessed enough to do a lot of e-com work. I've been blessed to do a lot of e-com work, which is online shopping like a Forever 21, GS Love, Charlotte Russe. And I've done some runway and I've done commercials. So what inspired me to be a model was the fact that I didn't see women that represented me on the screen or in magazines or anywhere I looked in anything social. I didn't see myself as a representation, and I've always been a taller, curvier girl, so I've been trying to find somebody I could relate to just out. I hadn't seen that yet, and I just thought it was a great experience to walk into that and be able to inspire young women and just women in general to live their truth and to see a woman that looked like them being represented. So that's what inspired me. Okay, well, some of the things that I've done to get my start was taking lots of photos. Working with different photographers to start developing my look, my feel. Like, we all have something special about us that stands out, but you don't always know what that thing is. So working with photographers really helps. It helps develop your personality. It helps you really come out of your shell. Sometimes you get to start dancing and moving, and that brings you out of your shell. And that's a thing that lets you loosen up in front of the camera so you're not so posed, because so much of acting itself and so much of modeling itself is honestly just being natural and just being everyday conversational, everyday relatable, everyday girl. And that's important to know how to do that, because when a camera comes in front of you, naturally you tense up or you want to put on, but that reads. So you have to know how to just be natural every day. So doing photo shoots would be one thing. On the back end, like just starting to understand the industry, it was just doing thorough research of the art of modeling and the art of the business. People forget so much of the modeling industry is the business side, because once you're on set, you're going. But it's also just knowing, the business side, what you should bring as a model, like what you should prep for, how to just converse with different clients and be universal. I started off with acting, and that was like my main focus, and I'm still very passionate about the arts and acting as well. But I would do a lot of commercials, because that's kind of like the way you kind of get started in the beginning, is the hit commercials. And I would go to a lot of commercial auditions, and they would always ask me, like, do you model at all? And I would just say, no, I'm a curvier girl. Like, they don't have models of my size. Like, no, they do. There's an industry that's developing called, the plus model industry. And I thought, there's maybe something to that, because curvy girls are fashionable. Curvy girls gotta have their thing too. Curvy girls can be represented like every other girl. So I've always had my thing with fashion, because I love colors and prints and different ways to show off, your style and your personality. Like, fashion is such a big part of who you are and how you want to express yourself, and it doesn't have to be the same every day. Your clothing is such a reflection of yourself sometimes. Like, when you're feeling playful, you can wear something cute and flirty. When you're feeling like sexy and sassy, you can something a little bit more form-fitting for your body, or something that accentuates your best assets. I would say I've always been inspired by fashion. Models, the fashion was always kind of more oversized and cover up and a little aged. Up until recently, they've started to really develop like styling for all curves. So thank goodness the industry's opening up. a little bit. But that's been the biggest struggle, even as a model, finding what you fit. Like, who would be your client? Who would you work for? What woman would you actually represent? As a woman in her 20s, you know, it's not always ideal to be shooting for the 40-year-old woman. Not that it's anything wrong with it, but they need to see themselves represented in fashion as well. Just like 20-year-olds and teens and preteens need to see themselves represented as well. So the industry is opening up, but it's been a struggle just trying to find the right mold to fit in as a model. Well, the person that got me started in the industry was a friend of mine named Tiffany Bank. Now, Tiffany Bank was a friend of mine. I actually ran into her on a film set, and I had known her from the acting world, and she asked me, you know, are you modeling yet, or what are you doing with modeling? And I was like, girl, no, I'm not really modeling right now. I'm just focusing on, you know, the acting side and working behind the scenes on film production. She's like, you really need to look into it, really look into that, because you'd be great at that. So she was like the final push. Had already been told by people, you should look into it. Even at auditions, you should look into it. Then she finally kind of like pushed me, like, do it, girl. So then she was the first person that kind of gave me my start to really like put myself out there. But I've always drawn inspiration from Ashley Graham, Safi, Robin Lawley. There's so many different inspirational people that I've also pulled from that were, you know, visually curvy women that were out there representing. So those are the women that pioneered the industry for me and inspired me to move forward in my modeling career. So there have definitely been challenges being a curve plus model in Hollywood. Obviously, one of the biggest challenges is not being represented mainstream wise. There are not a lot of women out there that look like the average woman, which is a curvy girl, size 12, size 14, flexible. That's the average size in the US, and there are not a lot of women that look that way. I remember growing up always being a curvier girl, a thicker girl. I already had stretch marks like by the 4th grade. I already had cellulite. I never was comfortable in a bikini, in shorts. Like, you'd be surprised what a blessing it is to feel comfortable in shorts. You'd be surprised how we take these little things for granted, like wearing shorts. Like, I was never a person that wears shorts because I have thick thighs that rub together and the chafing, and, you know, I limited my fashion and my sense of expression because of how I felt about myself. And that, you know, that really translated into my adult life too. Like, even into my early 20s, I still felt insecure in a swimsuit, insecure in shorts. I would always want to be covered up, and I just think it's one of those type of things that as a woman, you should never mute your expression. You should always feel authentic to yourself, and I wasn't always authentic until I finally just got into this industry. It's shocking because you would think all these women that are model are so secure and so this and so that, and truth be told, like, we're just like everybody else, finding our way along the way. Like, again, growing up, I never felt secure with my body. I've always had a body that was more adult than I guess I would ever have wanted at a young age, and even the type of attention that I would get from people was very much more adult than I would want at a certain age. And I had to, like, I really had to just be okay with who I was. And I just think that even today I'm still struggling with being the most confident woman, and I do see myself as a confident woman, but the biggest struggles have been accepting my body, accepting my flaws, the cellulite, the stretch marks, the things that make you imperfect in the world, in Hollywood and the industry, things that people shun against, people that will pay so much money to get rid of. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, and it's been a journey, but luckily I've used inspirations with younger women that are on a journey just finding themselves. Those people inspire me, and I get these messages on Instagram of how much my work inspires them, but they inspire me more than they could ever know. Going into castings or going into audition processes and being told you're too big, you're too short, you're too tall, you're too this, you're too that. You really take a beating. This is not really an industry for people who are feeble. You have to really develop thick skin, because you're going to hear more no's than yeses. But those yeses are so gratifying because you have finally proven you have made it. You have crossed this threshold. So for me, it's strange because, again, I started off as an actress, so I was constantly being told in auditions and, you know, castings, you know, you're a little bit too big, you're a little bit too this and too that. Where on the modeling side, I've also been told I'm too small. So it's such a toss-up with the industry, because knowing your place and how to fit in can be really, really challenging, just because you're just trying to be the best extension of yourself. The editorial side, where you really get to be an artist and create, I don't always get that many opportunities, and I don't know if it's because of my look, it's because of my feel, but I would love to just explore that. And it just makes me feel like sometimes you're only as good as this. You're only as good as this racehorse that can sell so many different pieces of clothing. But I want to be represented in a different light, in an artistic light. And I think that's one of my biggest, insecurities as far as a model. As a woman, now I'm very much like all woman. So, I have cellulite. I have extra. I got thighs, under thighs. I have a little extra of everything. And so on another hand, there are a lot of pros to working in LA versus working in New York or anywhere else as far as the fashion world. Now, one thing about LA, there's so many different things you can do as a model. Like there's commercial. So there's commercial, there's high fashion, there's beauty, there's campaign, there's e-com, there's street shows. So there's so many different avenues in LA. Now, LA is not necessarily known as a fashion mecca, but it's definitely a place where people can explore and express themselves through fashion. So I think it's so amazing that you have those opportunities to be able to do commercials and print and be fun and be the girl next door, and then the next day be the glamazon, and the next day be this like ultra chic woman. Like there's so much room for diversity here in California. It really, really opens up the door for different type of models. Like there's petite models, and there's, girls that are kind of like the in-between range for modeling, and that's really celebrated here in California, whereas in like New York, it's more of a structured standard with height, weight, and build and look, classical, editorial, specific style, where in California, even somebody who's just, even on a more quirky, fun character side could really thrive as a curve model here. So the things that I really, really love about myself is that I have all these different personalities that it's hard to kind of compose into one box. But I'm super quirky, like I'm super artsy and like moody. Like I love different like artistic photos and feels and ambiances. Like I love that I'm out there in that way, but I'm also super quirky and silly and goofy. Like I think I have a different kind of personality and a different type of sense of humor, but I'm more goofy and quirky than anything else. And I think there's a different perception of myself. A lot of people think that I'm super like this like sexy, this glamazon thing, and I see myself really as the girl next door, quirky, goofy, silly, just want to play around and have a good time. And I just think that it's crazy. I love being athletic. I'm super athletic, but I'm also super into being a girly girl. And you don't always see those two worlds merge a lot. Like people are either really girly and into that, or really competitive and into that, but I'm into both equally. I feel like those two worlds can totally exist, and I love that with myself. And overall, I just love who I am. I just feel blessed at this point to be walking in my own shoes, fulfilling my own purpose. And I really feel like for so long I hated who I was physically. I didn't see what I wanted to see, but I'm so accepting of who I am and who I'm growing to be. And that's what I love about myself the most. The fact that I don't have to be perfect. The fact that I can just be in my own skin and comfortable is enough for me these days. It wasn't before. It's been a journey, but it's now. It's more than enough now.